Good evening, everybody. This should be a very interesting conversation. We've got Tim here from Sportfolio, who's going to talk about both the combination of UK uni volleyball and also their platform and how you can use it to kind of understand what schools and what volleyball programs at those schools kind of best fit for you. So one little housekeeping item before we kick it off. Please use the Q&A function in Teams. If you have any questions that come up along the way, I'll be sure to get those to Tim at the appropriate point. Don't use the chat function. I mean, you can use that to discuss amongst yourselves, but I'm only going to be monitoring the Q&A for actual questions. Okay, so appreciate that. And with no further ado, I'll let Tim get going, and we'll have a good evening.
Brilliant. Thank you much, John. I'm just going to pass Alex's email on to yourself if you don't have it, so you can let
I'm good.
Alex
I've got him on text, so I'll figure it out.
Okay, brilliant. I'll let you pass in. Hi, everyone. Hope you're well. I won't keep you too long, but hopefully by the end of this conversation, this webinar, you'll have a bit more of an understanding into UK university volleyball and what to expect. I think it's really important that when you're looking to go university, you make sure you find the right university for yourself academically, but also for your sport. You're spending a lot of money to go to university. And it's important to understand how do you get that value for money and that full student experience. And volleyball is going to be a big part of that for yourself. So what you want to do is make sure that when you arrive at university, you know exactly what you're getting from volleyball, and making sure that those 3-4 years that we spend at university with volleyball is an experience you're going to enjoy, and it's matching your desired level and what you want to play at, whether that's once a week or whether that's 3-4 times a week, and they have a Wednesday team and a Saturday team. So I don't know how much you guys will know about university sport already, but this is sort of in terms of Bucks Wednesdays. Every Wednesday you'll compete. Depending on what university you go to, will depend on who you play against. If you play university in the south, you'll play against universities in the south. And if you go to University of the North, you'll play against University of the North. If you then come the top, I think 2 or 3 in the league, you'll then qualify for knockouts. If you then qualify for knockouts, that's a chance when you get to play universities across the UK. So for example, for myself, for my sport, we qualified for knockouts. I was in a South university. We got drew against University of Stirling up in Scotland. We had to get the plane up one morning and then get the plane back the following evening. So it's a great opportunity if you do get to the knockout stages to visit different universities, different facilities. And then if you're lucky enough to then get to the final, it's Bucks Finals Day. It's normally around March time. They pick one university in the UK, and that's where they put every final with every sport. So you'd have the volleyball, the hockey, the tennis, badminton, football. You'll have all the finals in one day at one university. There's a great chance then for you to compete to, be crowned national champions for volleyball. Yeah, as I just mentioned, it depends what you want from your university experience, and this is something we can support you with. Do you want to go university? Play once a week, intramural on a Friday evening volleyball. With 10 or so friends, student led. Great opportunity to meet mates, and enjoy yourself with volleyball. Or do you want to take it a step further and, play on a Wednesday with Bucks and then play on a Saturday, either with a university team or with external links with other clubs, train 2-3 times a week with professional coaches, opportunities for scholarships as well. There's a balance to do both. So, it's important when you're looking to go to university, you try and what are you looking to get from your volleyball experience. So yeah, I normally mention these 4 things to look out for because you may be looking to go to university next September or the year after or the year after that, and you've got to start thinking about certain things to look out for to make sure pick the right university for yourself. Firstly, is your sport performance sport? If you are looking to play 3-4 times a week, it's important to check if volleyball is a performance sport. This just means that the club gets more resources, more funding. It has high qualified coaches, and they put a lot more funding into it, which means you've got a good chance of scholarships also. Does your sport club have a team outside of Wednesday? As I said, if you want to play 3-4 times a week, check to see if they have a team on a Saturday, sorry. This might be linked with the university, or you might have to go externally and have a look with a club, but do check around the university to see if there are clubs available for you to play on a Saturday if there's not that link with the university. How many teams do they have? If they've got one team, you're less likely to play compared to if they've got 3 teams, for example. I speak to a lot of students, they go to university and they might only have one team, you're struggling to get in terms of your game time. So do check to see how many teams they do have. And then finally, when are the performance open days? It's just a lot of universities now, they took performance open days on Wednesdays. It gives you a chance to get to the university, see the campus buzz when the games are being played, and also speak to the coach as well. And it's normally specified for that sport, and you get a chance to sort of learn a bit more about the program. So do check to see when they are available. I always mention these because I feel like, it benefited me massively when I went to university in terms of being part of a sports club. I touch on the second one, improving social aspects, accelerate friendships and belonging. Whether you just want to go to university and play volleyball recreationally or play elite, it's where you're gonna make all your friends and meet all your mates, because you can have a shared common interest. You can be training together, competing together. When you get to university, it's scary to think that by November time, you're gonna have to start thinking about who you're going to be living with the following year. And being part of a sports club helps so much of that, because you can have shared calendars, shared interests. So it's a great chance to, get a group together and say, okay, well, let's live together next year. We've been playing volleyball together. We've been spending a lot of time. It's where you can be socialising with on a Wednesday night or on weekends. So being part of a sports club is massive for improving those social aspects and positive impacts on employability once you graduate. I speak to a lot of students who go to university, get a degree and then leave without being part of a sports club. And then I speak to a lot of students that go to university, they're part of a sports club, improving their leadership skills, improving their confidence skills, being a social secretary and help organise nights out, events and travel for games. And it's really appealing towards employers, showing you be able to balance your time with your studies and your sport. And a big part of, once you finish university in terms of getting employment. If you are thinking about scholarships and opportunity for yourself, there's a few things to keep in mind. As I mentioned already, some universities limit awards to named list of sports, so making sure that if you are looking for a scholarship, do check that university volleyball club is a performance sport. And I can touch on sort of how we can help you identify that in a minute. Some institutions confirm awards in March during the application process. So some universities confirm it when you arrive in September, October, but others confirm it in March. So do keep an eye out for that. And again, that's something we can support with. Competing in the Bucks is going to be compulsory if you get a scholarship. And the criteria for awards varies for individual sports. So, certain sports and certain clubs need certain positions, and they might put a bit more funding towards certain positions. So if it comes at a time when you're entering the university and they're looking for that certain position, then, it might be a better opportunity to get a scholarship. Yeah, so I work for a company called Sportfolio. As I said, we want to make sure that you find the best university for yourself academically and for your sport. And it's sort of a 3 or 4 step process we can support you. So after this webinar tonight, you can go away and you can download the app and you can create a profile. So specific to your sport, volleyball, you can put information such as your position, notable information, predicted grades, height, a bit about your education. If you have any coaching qualifications, team history, put all the information in and trying to put in as much information as you can to sort of support the university coaches in terms of seeing who you are and a bit about yourself and your volleyball. And there's a chance then for you to search. So you might have a couple of universities in mind already. We say, you know what, I think I like the look of Exeter. I think I like the look of Cardiff. Or you may not be unsure where you're going. So you can use different filters to sort of support you. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are looking for a scholarship, making sure that volleyball club is a performance sport club is really important. So you can use a filter saying performance sport clubs only, and that will show up only university volleyball clubs which are performance sport clubs. For example, University of Essex, or whether you just want to look at top universities in terms of performance rankings over the last couple of years, you can do that also. Look at different regions. There's a number of filters you can use to hopefully help you identify the right university for yourself in volleyball. And then, yeah, you might have 2 or 3 in mind, or you might identify 2 or 3, and then you can connect with the university. So if you're interested in going to university in 2025 to study business and play volleyball, you can let the university know you're interested by clicking register interest. That will let the coach know on the back end that Joe Bloggs is interested in coming to university to play volleyball, and they can give you a bit more information and say, hi Joe, see you interested in coming to university in 2025. Here's a bit more information about our open days, our pre-season. We've seen you play for X, Y, and Z, and we'd be really interested in having you come to our university to play volleyball for the 2025 season. And then you can let them know where you're at in the application process. Are you considering? Are you applied? Have you been accepted or denied? One feature which is good, which we can support you with, is if unfortunately, and I hope this isn't the case for any of you, you get denied all 3 or 4 of your entries or UCAS, we can sit down with you and say, okay, well, you've been denied those 3 or those 4 universities. However, there's these 2 universities which offer your course, offer your grades, and also a really good volleyball program. So hopefully you don't have to use that feature, but we are there to support you if that's the case. And yeah, I mention this to all students, don't be scared in terms of, putting your achievements and putting what you've achieved in volleyball down, because at the end of the day, it's going to be only improving your chances of, speaking to the university and letting them know that you are interested in coming. If you are looking for scholarships, make yourself known, because the coaches want to find out as much as they can about you. Anything from if you have coaching qualifications, you're interested in doing a bit on the side when you get to university, then great. Put down all the information regarding who you've played for, notable achievements, and to give you the best representation of yourself. For example, so just to finish, before I pass over to Alex from the University of Essex, can you play 2 sports at university? Now, I don't know whether you're thinking about going to university and playing a couple of sports. It's really tricky in terms of on a Wednesday with Bucks, there'll be coaches fighting over yourself. So I would have to say, unfortunately, it's tricky to do so. What team can I expect to get to in the first year? That's completely down to sort of your ability and the options available at university. There's another 3 years older than you who'll be sort of competing and playing at university. So that completely varies in terms of the standard you're looking to go into at the university. And yeah, the website and app is completely free. It gives you a chance to log in and find out what's available for yourself. So as I said, you can feel free to go into the app and the website later on and sort of make some universities knowing that you are interested in going in the following years. So yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions. And I'd also like to hand over to Alex, who's going to speak a bit about his university volleyball program, the University of Essex, one of the top volleyball programs in the UK. And let me stop sharing. There we go. And one of the top programs in volleyball in the UK, and hopefully he can give you a bit of an insight into how a university volleyball week looks, and sort of what to expect if you were to attend University of Essex.
Yeah, so just a little bit of extra info on a couple of those FAQs as well that you just put up.
Yeah, please.
If you want to go into a performance program, most performance coaches won't let you play another sport at university. Self-explanatory. If you're getting a scholarship to play volleyball, we don't want you going and playing football and getting injured, essentially. So that's one of those things. I think people that are on this call that are training at junior national team level, you will probably make it into a team or into a first team in your university. If you're looking to go the performance route, the coaches that you speak to will tell you, they'll be very honest with you about what your playing time pathway kind of looks like. If you're looking to go the non-performance route and things, there are a few good university club teams that aren't performance teams, but sort of below that, as a junior national team athlete, you would be playing pretty quickly. I would have thought, given the level of some of those teams. Now, from a performance perspective, what a week kind of looks like for you. With our athletes, they have Mondays off in the morning because we play Super League games on the weekend. So they come in for the first time at 6 p.m. They lift at 6 p.m. as a team in our performance gym. Go straight from the weights room onto court, where we'll have a 90-minute team training session, mainly working tactically, game-based environment to work there. Finish then for Monday. Tuesday morning, we do 3 hours of skill development. That is all based around your timetable. So if you're on my program and you have class and it clashes with our skill development sessions, you're not allowed to train. You go to class. You're at university to get a degree. You're there to play some volleyball as well, but you're there to get a degree that lasts the rest of your life. Then we'll do film on a Tuesday evening, and then train straight away after our film session, preparing for that Wednesday Bucks game. That game could be at home, in which case it's probably a 4 hour commitment, coming in, meeting beforehand, warming up, potentially serve and pass before the game, going and play the game. Or it could be on the road. We could be going, if you're in the south like us, you could be going to Bournemouth or to Cardiff or to Bristol, in which it's an all-day thing on a Wednesday, because you have to travel, play the game, and then travel back. We take Thursdays off, as a lot of you will no doubt come to find out. Wednesday nights are kind of a big social night on campus, campuses across the country. So when you come, or if you come to Essex, firmly of the belief that you're a student athlete, you're not an athlete student. So you have that time, and we build some of that time in for you to go out and be a student, as well as coming in and playing volleyball to a close to professional kind of level and close to professional schedule, as it were. Fridays are very similar to Tuesdays. We have 3 hours of skill development in the morning, 2 hour practice in the evening, and a film session in there. Our athletes also lift on a Friday morning before our skill dev session. And then on the weekend, we play in the Super League. Most of the top performance universities will have a link to a Super League team of some sort. Durham, Newcastle, Nottingham, and us, we all own, or the university owns, the Super League team. Newcastle women, not quite Super League yet, but the way they've started the year, I would put a bet on that they will be a Super League team next year, if you're applying there. The university owns the team, so it'll be a very similar playing roster. It'll be the same coaching staff. Each of those has its quirks as well, so it's worth getting on having a conversation with the coaches, just to make sure you understand completely what each team's offering kind of is from a National League perspective. And then some of the other universities have direct links with clubs that are in the Super League, as well. So you look at UEL with Mallory, you look at Derby with Dark Star. So there's lots of different opportunities to then go and perform at a high level. Bournemouth with Wessex, down there on the south coast as well. So most of the top universities will have a link to play high level National League, alongside playing in Bucks. That helps get development. It helps get you game time, and really good quality game time as well. Because when you get to the latter stages of Bucks volleyball, it is full on. It's some of the best competition in the country, in those finals, the semi-finals, quarter-finals of Bucks, and obviously the national championship game as well on Bucks Big Wednesday, which is something that is really cool to experience. I'm lucky I've experienced 3 of them in the last 3 years. Yet to win one, but we will keep going, and hopefully this year is the year that we can go in and get a win on a Bucks Big Wednesday.
Thank you, Alex. No, hopefully that gives everyone a bit of insight into how a university week looks for volleyball, with a great balance of sort of your academics, your volleyball, and sort of your social side, which is all 3 reasons why you go to university. So, yeah, I don't know, John, if you want to touch on anything else, or if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or hand over to Alex, who's sort of a bit more of an expert in this field regarding volleyball.
Yeah, so like I said at the beginning, if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the Q&A, and we'll make sure we get it to the guys. I'm just trying to think if I got any primer questions to begin with. I mean, Alex, you might talk a little bit about how recruiting works for the performance programs.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best thing to do from a recruitment perspective, if you want to play for a performance program, is to try and reach out to the coach directly. I know, like, if you wanted to look at Newcastle or Nottingham, you could reach out to Shentz and Freddie or myself for Essex on social media, and we'll kind of guide you from there. I know Durham, they have a performance sport page on their website. So does Newcastle, Nottingham, and us. UEL are the same. They have like a performance sport page, and there'll be a form that you can fill in. That info will go directly to the coaches, and the coaches will then get in contact with you. Alongside, obviously, now we also have the Sportfolio link, and I know I've just had my login information for it come through today, so I'll be active on that platform as well in the future. I think over the next couple of years, having had a little bit of a look at kind of what the platform looks like, we'll probably all migrate to using that kind of way of doing it rather than having to contact through social media and things. But until it's sort of fully up and running, that's probably the best way to do it, or going via university websites themselves. But it will be handy to have everything in one place, that's for sure.
So we have had a question come in, and this one's for Tim. Does the app cover beach volleyball?
It will come under volleyball. So a lot of the sport clubs, they'll mention beach volleyball in the volleyball section if that's something they're interested in. But in terms of having a separate sport for beach volleyball, no, just click volleyball. And when you go on the university sites, you'll see XYZ volleyball club, and then it should have the beach volleyball information underneath if that's relevant to the university.
Beach volleyball in Bucks is a one tournament event. So it happens in June every year, usually down at Sandbanks. It's a 2-day event that you take part in, and all of the top universities will be there, plus a lot of the sort of good universities for volleyball will all be there as well. So even if you go to play indoor volleyball, you'll have the opportunity to play some beach as well. There isn't like a separate competition. Well, it is a separate competition, but it doesn't run alongside the indoor volleyball season, so you can easily balance both disciplines, as it were.
The thing I would add in there is the partnership we're developing with BCU, Birmingham City University, where we're going to have the covered beach courts to provide 12-month access. Obviously, that doesn't change anything where Bucks is concerned, because Bucks is its own organization. But BCU is very likely to be kind of the almost an academy sort of situation for that university level of athlete, with links to other things through the national pathway. So it will likely have a similar sort of training structure, what Alex mentioned before, without the Bucks competition and obviously the MVL, but also on the flip side of that, hopefully linking into potentially even like futures events for CEV and FIVB and other things that are obviously beyond just the university scope. So good question. Like I said, if anybody else has any questions, go ahead, fire them into the Q&A. Trying to think of what else would be a good one. We could probably go a little more, let's say, maybe kind of into the kind of the gradation, because obviously you got the performance programs at the top. You've kind of got, maybe it's Div 1 is still competitive, maybe slightly more competitive than recreational. And then kind of below that, it's more or less kind of purely recreational. And there's a lot of variation in terms of coaching, training time, how much court time you get at the universities, because some of them that aren't performance programs do have high level coaching and have at least a couple of trainings a week, whereas on the other end, there's no coaching. It's kind of all just entirely student run. You might only have one training a week, or kind of, as Tim alluded to, maybe you have a social playing session once a week. When I coached at Exeter, we had the club itself was about 110, 120 students altogether. We had the Bucks teams at the top that were playing in Div 1 and eventually got promoted to Premier League when that got started. And so that was I coached them. I coached those Bucks teams. But then below that, they had intermediates and beginners. And some of the Bucks athletes actually coached the beginners to kind of train them up into be the intermediates. And there was also kind of different levels of competition in and amongst that. So obviously the Bucks teams played Bucks, but they also played regionally in the Southwest League. The intermediates played in the Exeter City League. So they would get to play maybe once a week or alternating weekends or something along those lines to be able to get to play. So kind of what you alluded to, Tim, there's you can find your level of what you want in there somewhere.
I think the biggest thing I would add is don't assume that because you're going to a university, they have a good volleyball setup there. I would just make sure, like, if you like a university, that you look at it. Yeah, you do your research, you go in and you see, and if you can speak to a coach about kind of the level they're at. Bucks does a really poor job of showing you what level teams are at and who's in what competition and things. There's an app, it's called Bucks Play. You can sign up. You have to sign up to it. You can sign up just as someone who wants to see the information. But it makes it look like you can't. You can do it. You can go on there and check their information out. If you're really struggling, just ask me and I will go on there and find the information for you, because the app is not the best thing in the world to try and use.
It's brutal. Let's be honest.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So I'll happily help out. In terms of extra costs associated with playing, I've just seen that one come in. So it's different. Again, it's very different at different places. Top performance programs won't charge you anything. So if you're on a scholarship, you won't pay to play in Bucks. You won't pay to train. You won't pay for any of those associated costs. Every university, apart from Essex, I believe, that has a Super League link, will have you pay something towards playing for the Super League team. That might be a really nominal fee. So I think for Nottingham, it's like £50 a year. That might have even come down this year to be a part of their Super League setup. And that, I think that even that just covers the cost of registering as an athlete on the Volleyball England website. I think at some places they charge sort of £200 a year to play Super League volleyball at university. So again, just make sure you get all of those answers from your coaches when you're having those conversations, and that'll also factor into the kind of scholarships that you offer. So for us, we don't offer quite as big of a bursary for undergrads as some of the other programs do, but when you get that bursary, you get to keep that. You don't have to pay anything to play volleyball when you come to us, whereas at other places they might offer you more money, but there might also be some costs associated with playing. But yeah, have the conversations with the coaches. They'll know it better than me. I don't keep a massive up-to-date database of that in my head. It's just based on conversations I've had in the past. And we do have conversations as coaches. We try to work together to make everyone's lives better, as it were. So like with us, where we don't make anyone pay anything, I give that information out to Freddie at Nottingham and to Sam up at Newcastle, so that they can hopefully push their bosses to offer the same thing in the future, because we want to make things as best they can be for the athletes that are coming out and playing.
Yeah, and from a non-performance perspective, there will definitely be a participation fee of some kind. And usually there's the opportunity to buy kit as well, to a greater or lesser degree based on preference. Obviously it comes down to how much support they get from either the AU, the athletic union, or the student union, depending on which structure that particular university is going. So I think in my time in Exeter, which was 10 years ago, admittedly, I think the cost for the Bucks players was something like £120 for the year.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to play non-performance volleyball at Essex. It's about a similar kind of fee that you have to pay to do that.
And obviously, it was less if you weren't playing Bucks. If you were just member of the club, it would have been a nominal fee. All right. Any other questions, folks? Tim, anything else that you just want to throw in there?
No. I think Alex tiny covered it all, and yourself, John. As I said, I think just to finish up on what Alex said, don't just assume that the university you go to has a good volleyball program, and hopefully sort of our search filters will help that, and making sure, is it performance sport? Have they been top in terms of Bucks performance rankings the last few years? Hopefully that gives an indication. And Alex mentioned a couple other universities alongside University of Essex, which are really good for volleyball programs. So hopefully, alongside his message and the platform, we can sort of support you in making sure you find the best university academically and for volleyball. So, if you've got any questions, then feel free to message John and he can pass it on to myself or Alex, and we'll be happy to help. And yeah, hopefully this has been informative for yourself, and hopefully you've got something out of it. So I appreciate your time. So yeah, thanks John, thanks Alex, and thanks everyone who's come in.
And they just want to get the Sportfolio app off their app store, obviously.
Yeah, App Store, Google Play or iOS. Yeah, download the app, and hopefully it gives you a bit of support moving forward. And feel free to connect with University of Essex and reach out to Alex and let him know you're interested. But yeah, again, thanks for your time, everyone, and hopefully that's been a help.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Cheers, bye.